Hi, you're watching Hourglass Media. This is Hourglass. My name's Davidson.
I'm Allan Heath.
I'm Katt Birdsell.
Today we're talking about watching television shows, either binge watching or waiting week to week to watch it. So, what shows have you binge watched?
My favorite binge watching show would be Orange is the New Black.
Right.
I started watching it just one day out of the blue and couldn't put it down, kind of like a good book. And then I actually showed Carrie, and we binge watched it up until about episode 8. And then the next day, I wasn't even able to get back up here in time before she had started binge watching it again.
I can't wait for you to watch it.
Exactly. That's what I thought. I got this really guilty phone message like, I'm really sorry, but I couldn't wait. I'm just so good. But if you come back up, I'll be almost done.
Well, what about you for binge watching?
The last thing I binge watched, I think, was, I've done some Parks and Rec. The new season came out, so I watched
that's a
that.
good one.
Awesome show. The worst one was Lost. Back, when it was in its last season on TV, me and a couple friends just binge watched literally the entire show. And that was 8 seasons of ridiculous. And the weekend of the final show on TV, we wanted to catch up and watch that one live. So we watched 10 episodes in a day and a half. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And finished.
Did it make any more sense binge watching that show?
No, it did not.
Maybe it'll all come together if I don't have a break of a week in between.
Yeah, it was. And as we were binge watching, I was like, how would you? Because that show, especially the way they ended, I'm like, how would you have to wait a week to see what happens with this? I'd lose my mind.
See, that was actually one of the ones that me and wife person watched week to week. We never, we didn't binge watch any of it, and it was so waiting for that last week, we were such big fans. We saw the finale in theater. It was up because they were playing it in several. Yeah, they were playing it in a lot of theaters around San Diego. So we went to the movie theater and we were with a whole bunch of big Lost fans. It was really cool.
That's a really cool experience.
Yeah, it was really
awesome. Actually,
I actually wish more shows would have done that. I wish Breaking Bad would have done that. They did it in a couple locations, but it was more widespread with Lost.
Right. Well, Lost was huge. I mean, that was
But I think that brings up a really good point of, week to week you have the anticipation of what's going to happen next week. So that's the kind of stuff where you go to work the next day and everybody's like, did you watch it? What did you? Oh my gosh, I don't know. I wonder what's going to happen.
Theorizing about what this means and
exactly.
For sure.
So I think there are some shows, that you binge and you just kind of experience more as a cinematic kind of thing. You get much more connected and much more, you have much more in common with these characters much more quickly.
Yeah.
But then there are some that the anticipation is kind of the fun part. It's like Christmas Eve.
Yeah, for sure.
For me, with Breaking Bad, I saw most of it. I binge watched, and then I caught up to it in the last couple of seasons, and I was watching it week to week. And I actually thought I liked it watching week to week more than binge watching it, just because because of that anticipation and talking to coworkers and being like, what do you think is going to happen now? And, whereas if you just binge watch it, you're like, well, I can just watch the next
it's also
episode.
hard to talk to other people about what has been going on. If you go, okay, so where are you at in this series?
Right,
you have to,
that water cooler conversation about the show is kind of fun.
They're shows like Arrested Development where it's on Netflix, and you just they release it at the very beginning, and then they don't
throw the whole season out there.
Yeah, so then you can't talk to people about that because a lot of people
spoiler alerts
are
so easy.
Yeah,
because people watch it right away, and they're like, well, what about the part when blah 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 blah, and then
I'm not there yet.
I didn't see that part. Or they kind of inadvertently ruin things the first 2 episodes kind of sucked, and then it gets really good after that, and then they say why, and it's
or even if they just say that, you have that in your mind now, so you go in expecting it to suck.
Oh, great, now I have to tolerate the first 2 episodes.
Right. You might have liked it otherwise.
Yes, in one of the episodes of Breaking Bad, one of the episodes, people are like, this is the best episode of Breaking Bad ever made. And I'm so glad I didn't hear that before. I agree with it, but I didn't want,
your expectations would have been so high.
I wouldn't want the expectations to be that high for, I really hate when people are like, this is the best thing ever. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to think this is the best thing ever. And I think that's part of the reason why I didn't really like Gravity, but it's okay.
I got you,
What about...
Well, and binge watching is definitely a new phenomenon.
For sure. It's completely changing the way that we watch television.
Yeah, that didn't exist before. You'd have to go out and buy the DVD of the show. And
Kevin Spacey has that really great bit going around Facebook right now talking about how everything is changing and how streaming things and Netflix and all of that is changing because for House of Cards, they had a lot of networks interested, but they all wanted a pilot episode, and he's just like, we don't want to do that. You can't just come in and be caught up with it. We want to tell this story, and this is where we want to have it go. Right. So I think it's also interesting of what gets put on television and what gets picked up by Netflix kind of makes a difference as how you watch it.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
What are there any shows that you can think of that you like better watching week to week with that anticipation? And are there certain types of shows that are better like that? Are there certain types better for binge watching? Like,
I think stuff like Parks and Rec and Community are good binge watchers because there's not like the episodes don't generally end with like a cliffhanger or really interesting something to discuss. It's just it's fun. You can watch a bunch of episodes.
There's enough to string it together, but if you watch them sporadically,
you're not going to be disjointed.
It's still going to be funny.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff like Breaking Bad or the one I've been watching lately is American Horror Story, and I watched the first 2 seasons on Netflix, and then I've been watching the 3rd season. It's out right now, watching it week to week. And I'm liking that more week to week because there's all this stuff happening, and what we were talking about after every Wednesday or Thursday, whenever I get around to watching it, there's always discussion of like, well, what did that mean, and what do you think next week's coming? And I'm enjoying that, so that's been
that's one of the shows that I hear a lot of people talking about. I haven't been able to see it yet because I just have a lot of other things to watch, and but I definitely have to get on that.
I'm too scared to watch it.
Really?
It's a good one. And it's interesting because each season they use the same actors, but it's a completely different story. So like the first season is completely separate from the second season. They're self-contained seasons, basically. But it's cool. It's a good show.
Huh. What about you? Is there anything that you specifically like watching, like on a week-to-week basis?
On a week-to-week. I don't know. I do... I have the first 4 seasons of Community, and I enjoy showing that to people. But I also did, when they were on week to week, that was kind of one of those things where you turn on, you check to see, like, what do I have on my DVR, and it's on there, and you're like, oh, I have to watch this before anything else, That was always kind of a bit of a thrill.
Well, it's kind of a treat.
Yes, absolutely.
Like, you get excited for a day normally you wouldn't care about, like, it's Tuesday, who cares, but my new episode of whatever.
It's kind of fun. So I did like going through that, and it was always, I just find it kind of cute because it's kind of like, for people who are in school, it's like, oh, I have class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Oh, I have Community on Tuesday. So it's kind of like a little, I have a sad life, sorry. It was my own like personal little date where I'm just like, it's my biggest thrill.
Well, like for shows that we really love, like it's like, oh my god, it's Sunday night's Breaking Bad night, or oh my god, it's Sunday night's Game of Thrones night.
Oh, so, okay, I was going to say, that is
all
one.
All over Facebook all the time.
And that is when the Game of Thrones...
I haven't seen that yet.
Wow. And even though that's possible to binge watch, I caught the last couple of seasons with my old roommate, the last couple episodes of last season, and I would just kind of watch it, but I would watch him rush home and just be like, it's Game of Thrones! I'm like, okay, this is very exciting. And then of course I got into it and I went, when's it coming back on? I'm gonna have to wait? I can't believe this! It's brutal.
What I really loved about last season of Game of Thrones was like, because they're based on books, so there was online, like on all the social media networks, there was a difference between who read the books and who just is watching the show, because when the Red Wedding came by, all the people who read the books were like, and all the people who had like not read the books and they were just doing the TV, they were like, oh my god,
they didn't even know what was coming. Then again, when you're reading the books, you don't know what's coming either. You know what I mean? When you're reading the book, you get to the Red Wedding and you freak out.
Came out, people were like
freaking
stuff
out all over the place, all over Facebook, all over everything. Just blew up. What the hell is going on? Apparently, a bunch of main characters get slaughtered. That's all I know.
It's so much more than that.
It's if you didn't read the books and you just watched the TV show, it was like it's a whole.
Well, it was where you watch it, like
it's a whole
really
experience.
It's
but that's one of the beauties too of a difference between the way that we're kind of watching TV and the way that they're making things into shows or movies, is because what I love about Game of Thrones is that you read it and it's one story, and the show kind of takes a different direction, but it's almost kind of like George R.R. Martin was able to kind of play with how might I have written this differently, because they come to the same place, but then it's also ironic to listen to him talk about it, because he's like, there are people on the show who are still alive that are dead in the book, and vice versa.
Oh yeah,
you know,
interesting.
So it's very. I think it's.
And the same author is doing the writing for the show as wrote the book.
He oversees.
Yeah, he oversees.
Oh, okay.
And so I think that's cool because it's it's a different experience, but it's still authentic.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny because people will ask him all the time, like who's gonna die in the next book or who's gonna die in the next season. And he's like, if I get that question one more time, I'm going to start killing off every single character.
They're all dead.
Not that he has a problem with that anyway.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's so many main characters get slaughtered in that show. That's the end of Hourglass for this week. Make sure that you comment, like, subscribe, favorite if you really like it. My name's Davidson.
I'm Allan Heath.
We'll see you next time.
This is going to be our sign. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Wow. Binge watch us.
We're still working on that.
Awesome.
That was fun. That took a Game of Thrones turn.
It did.
Yeah.
I'm glad I knew about that. I was like, woohoo!
Anytime it takes a Game of Thrones turn, it's a good thing.